Jungkook and Jimin's comeback isn't as beautiful as it seems? Here's the fact behind it. The euphoria of welcoming Jungkook and Jimin's return from military service has rocked the world. Fans flooded social media with Haru messages, setting up banners at the airport, and looking forward eagerly to the moment when the two again set foot in public life. However, behind their smiles lies a story that not everyone knows. Many thought that their return was the perfect moment, full of laughter and warm hugs. However, in fact, Jungkook and Jimin's return is actually a more complicated emotional journey than what has been seen on camera. Feeling isolated in one's own home, several close staffers revealed that once back at the agency. Both Jungkook and Jimin went through a difficult period of adaptation. The world they left behind 2 years ago has changed so quickly. New songs, new systems, and an atmosphere that feels alien. Some of the new faces working around them even admitted that they had felt reluctant to approach because the auras of both looked different, quieter, but at the same time like saving distance. Jungkook reportedly fell silent several times in the rehearsal room, staring at the floor without speaking for several minutes. When asked, he simply replied, "I need time to feel at home again." Jimin was once caught on camera. Staff were sitting alone on the balcony of the agency, staring away while playing with his phone, like he was looking for something missing. The fears they hide in a closed discussion session that was leaked to the media. Jimin had expressed deep concerns to the production team. What if the fans are not what they used to be? What if we can't give them the same feeling again? Jungkook added quietly, "What if I'm not like the Jungkook they love?" Their return is not just a physical matter. Their hearts, their souls, need time to adjust to a world that feels like it's running faster than they thought. The pause that separates them during this transition period, Jungkook and Jimin's relationship, which during the military seemed so close, was stretched without them realizing it. A flurry of individual rehearsals, suddenly piling up solo projects, and having to share time with many parties made them see each other less often than they used to. There was a moment when Jungkook was in vocal training and Jimin just passed by without having a chance to talk. The staff noticed a change in the atmosphere, as if the two were trying to readjust to the fast and hectic rhythm of life. However, despite the distance that began to be felt, they always returned to find each other. During a live broadcast that took place in the middle of the rush, Jungkook suddenly called Jimin in the middle of the live and said, "Hyung, I miss our old moment. When will we be able to be together again?" Jimin laughed a little and replied, "Tomorrow. I'm waiting for you. Don't take too long." Simple words, but full of meaning. For them, the house is not an agency building or a grandiose stage. The house is when they can stare at each other without rushing. Haunting Pressure HYB is known to be preparing a big project for BTS's comeback, but tremendous pressure comes from the expectations of fans and the media. Jungkook even revealed in a training session, "I'm afraid I'm not perfect. I'm afraid to disappoint those who are already waiting." Jimin, on the other hand, feels burdened by the label Harapan Army, which is now like a burden that he has to carry every day. In a session that was not broadcast publicly, Jimin lowered his head and said, "Sometimes I'm afraid to stand on stage again. Not because I don't want to, but because I'm afraid I can't be what I used to be." But they both chose to keep going. They chose to keep walking, even though the fear was not completely gone. Eventually, they find each other again the night before their first post-enlistment concert. Jungkook and Jimin are known to spend time together in the rehearsal room until late at night. No staff, no cameras. Only they, acoustic guitars and low voices fill each other. Jungkook picks up the guitar and starts singing pieces of their old songs. Jimin smiled and slowly sang along with her. It was a simple moment, but it was precisely the point where they realized that no matter what changes in the world, they remain with each other. At the end of the rehearsal, Jungkook looked at Jimin and spoke, "If you're next to me, I'm not afraid anymore." Jimin replied, "Me too, because you're my home." And when they finally go on a real stage, they no longer think about fear. They no longer have doubts. All they had in mind was one, to sing the song to those who were already waiting. Sing that song to each other. After the big concert, which became the starting point of their comeback, Jungkook and Jimin's mood slowly began to improve. But apparently, their journey afterwards did not necessarily go smoothly. Behind the cheers of thousands of spectators and the warm welcome from the army around the world, there was still an unfinished feeling. A few days after the concert, it was reported that Jungkook chose to avoid media interviews. He was mostly silent in the training room and often only greeted the staff with a small nod. One of HYB's insiders leaked that Jungkook had said, "Sometimes I'm still not sure. I'm afraid all this is just a momentary celebration. I'm afraid everyone worships the old version of me too much." Meanwhile, Jimin also had a hard time. He was filmed several times on paparazzi cameras walking alone at night, wearing a hoodie and mask, as if trying to dodge all the eyes watching him. In one of the exclusive interviews that he finally did, Jimin admitted, "It was harder than I thought to come back. I'm afraid it doesn't mean that much to them anymore." However, behind all that anxiety and fear, the two find the strength of one thing in common: their bond. The meeting without a camera that changed everything there was one moment that was never released to the public. HYB's staff leaked that after a long night's training session, Jungkook and Jimin met on the roof of HYB's building. No staff, no plans. Just two people trying to find comfort in a world that constantly demands them to be strong. Jungkook breaks the silence slowly. "Hyung, you don't think we're more tired now than when we were in the military?" Jimin smiled weakly as he stared at the sparkling city below them. "Yeah, but maybe it's different. We were tired physically. Now we are tired of fear." Jungkook looked at Jimin for a long time, then said, "But one thing hasn't changed. I'm always calmer when you're around." Jimin lowered his head, trying to hold back the tears that suddenly welled up. He patted Jungkook's shoulder and replied, "Me too. You're my home, Kook." That simple conversation became a turning point for them. They are no longer trying to prove something to the world. They just want to walk together again with their current version of themselves. Sometime later, they began to open up slowly. They appear in a more relaxed, more honest live broadcast. No longer trying to be perfect, but instead showing their true side. "IN1 Live," Jungkook honestly said, "Army, we are not the same people as before the draft. But we're still us. And we want to know you again, and we want you to know us again." Jimin, "Don't expect us to be perfect. I wish we were more honest, because that's the only thing we can promise right now." Armies around the world greeted them with tears and virtual hugs. Comments flooded the broadcast, stating that they never demanded perfection. They just want Jimin and Jungkook to be happy, the happiness they slowly rediscovered, not from the camera, not from the grand stage, but from the little time they spent together. Take a late-night walk, guitar practice together, or just sit without talking for hours. In a simple moment, Jungkook wrote the lyrics that many later learned came from their conversation on the roof that night. "You are my home, not the place, but the person." That's the song they would later release together, a song that became a symbol of their journey after the draft, about loss, fear, searching, and finally finding a home in each other. They're back, not as the old Jungkook and Jimin, but as two people who have grown, taken care of each other, and chosen to stay together, no matter what.